Patrick, I'm going to start with you. You are our special teams guru. It looked like they were setting up for this to be a really incredible victory for the Bears. What happened on the field goal?
The left side, I watched the whole game. They were giving pressure up on the left side the entire time. Olin and I were just watching it, and I said, be aware on the left side.
Yeah,
and it's on the left. It's on the left hash. Normally the team is going to rush from the right side, but they had scouted something, obviously, to come through the left side. Normally if you're kicking on the left hash, you're getting rushed on your right side. And they realized that A-gap was weak, and that's what happened.
Man, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like they did a lot of things really well in this game, and it looked like for once something silly that the other coach does is going to be something that allows you to win the game, and yet here we are with the Bears losing this game to the Packers.
Yeah, it's twice now that you watch them play, and you watch Caleb Williams do what Ryan Post talked about, lean on his teammates, and then when it's time to do the special, he did the special. Right, that 3rd and 19, they converted. And they moved them downfield, and they put them in field goal range. And, again, situational football, Pat, whether it be the Hail Mary or field goal at the end of the game, and they're coming after you, they get blocked, and they lose 2 games like that now, 2 heartbreakers. They've lost it. And a game that, again, you're ready to do the post-game show, and you're ready to talk about how excited you are about what you saw from the young quarterback, developing, getting the ball out, making the plays when he had to, beating man coverage when he had to, making the throws that need to be made to win the games. And he's done that a couple times this year and still lost the game. So situational football at the end of the game, what doorstep does that fall on? And we all know where that falls. That falls right on Coach Eberflus' doorstep, and they have to take a look at, Pat, practicing end-of-the-game situations and how important it is to do your job. And we've heard this word from them up there a lot this week, right? The details of every play. Yep. And Pat is standing there, Laurence, like he just said.
You what the details
he's telling
are.
Me they're gonna rush the left side. They got to be stout there. A lot to talk about in this game, a lot to unpack, but they lose another heartbreaker.
Guys, this is a game. You go back to the Commanders game. It's the same feeling, right?
Yes.
You were excited about Caleb in the fourth quarter, leading you down to win the game. We've got the game won. Same thing here. He scores points at halftime, goes down here to get a chance to win the game, and at the end of the game, they can't get it done. They can't protect on the field goal. This is just – it's heartbreaking because we thought we saw strides in young number 18.
And we did.
We did, right? I'm saying we did. But then all of a sudden, these little things happen. These little details happen to set us back, to set him back. And his story should be written differently right now.
Oh, yeah, 2 games.
Yes,
There's 2 games where Ryan Post has to change it now. He says, lean on your teammates, do the special. And then your teammates have to do their job after that.
That's right.
Right, and they have to lean on him. And again, like Pat is saying, you're sitting in that room and you're thinking to yourself, I can't wait till they tell us I told you so.
Yes.
I can't wait till they take their victory lap. I hope they do. Right, I hope they do take their victory lap. Well-deserved. 2 games now you're watching and you're thinking that they're going to win this game. They're fighting tooth and nail. They're doing a lot of little things right. They get the red zone turnover that they needed to be in this game against the Packers. Their run defense was decent, right? Byard showed up to stop the run. Their D-line was playing tough. Walker makes a play on a 2-point conversion to give them a chance to win that game. And yet again, we talk about a lot on these shows. You've heard me and Pat talk about this a lot. It took a long time to learn how to win in the NFL. It takes a long time to learn. This team has to learn how to win football games, and eventually, they have to look at each other and they're to say, look, we have to do better. Our teammates, everybody on this team has to do better so we win football games at the end of the game.
I'm going to say something situational football. I'm going to go a little nerdy on special teams again because Olin was asking, when you set up that field goal, you normally go to your kicker and you understand which hash you want the ball on. I know in the past, I know for a fact, when Kyra first got here, he liked the right hash on his PATs. He would always like it on the right hash, just the way he kicked the ball. I'm wondering if they put it on the left hash, knowing they were weak on that side, because normally if you have the ball on the left side, like I said, they rush from the offense's right side. But they kept a lot of rushers on that left side. I don't know. That's just disappointing. Those are details. Those are details we're talking about. I'm waiting to – hopefully the game will show up my iPad here shortly. I don't want to watch more of that play, but – those are just little details that need to be taken care of, and I'm wondering if that's why they had it on the left hash.
Would you have liked to have seen them run one more play in that last 40-second window that they had? Or did they run the operation correctly to get the field goal distance that they wanted?
Yeah, you always want more yards, right? I know running out there with Robbie or whoever the kicker was, you always would like with the offense to get a couple more yards. But Cairo gets paid and paid well to make that kick, and that's part of the job too. I also want to see if it's a little low. To me, I would say if you're below 48 yards, especially now with these kickers, you should go ahead and make that kick. And I just don't know. I want to see the video. I know there was pressure up the middle. Was it a combination of being low and pressure? But from what I've just seen from those couple replays, it looked like they got pretty good pressure in there.
312-644-6767. We look forward to taking your phone calls here on the Great Clips postgame show presented by Sony Pictures Wonderverse, Chicago, and TimberTech Decking and Railing. I'm Laurence Holmes sitting in for Mully. I got Olin. I got Patrick here. We're going to be with you for the next couple of hours. Olin, I want to go back to, like, what you were saying about how this game, for the most part, feels really good.
Yes.
That you have some things happen inside of this game. You get a turnover on downs. You get an interception in the red zone. Mm-hmm. Both of those things for your defense. But then you give up a big play.
You do.
You give a big play that allows them to get into
and it's
scoring.
Your best player.
Right?
It's your best player. Right? And it gives a good big play to Watson. They get aggressive. They blitz. They go man. Right? And the field gets Johnson. That's part of it. Right? We're all playing on the same field. And it's just – they still hold this Packers offense to 20. They did a better job against the run than I thought they would do without Billings. They played aggressive. They played tough. They were playing hard football. The offense was better, obviously, still under 20 points. Offense still under 20 points in the game. That's still a fact, right? We still got to find points no matter how many yards. I think they were 9 for 16 on third down. Amazing job by Caleb. Using his legs versus man coverage, noticing that, versus zone, finding the holes in the zone. I thought he played a lot better football today than we've seen him play over the last weeks. He did the special when it was time. The pass rush overwhelmed the O-line just only late in the game. Before that, they were doing fine, right? But like an old O-line coach used to tell me, that's when we get paid. Mm-hmm. At the end of the game is when you get paid to make your blocks, right? So we got to get better at that. But the defense, man, with Billings out, I thought they missed Brisker a little bit today. I thought Byard,
mm-hmm.
Man, I thought he played hard against the run. I thought he put his big boy pads on. I thought the whole defense did. After that first drive when they were just running the ball, Josh Jacobs, tough running back. Really tough game to lose. Tough for the Bears fans to lose that game. Needed a win like that. Needed a win like that to pick up the organization again. But if there's a little sunshine in the clouds, it's the young quarterback's play today. That is what we're watching. That is what we're paying attention to.
All right, so look, you guys are both captains. You have a loss like this. What are the things that you're saying if you're on this team to Caleb to make sure that he stays engaged and say, hey, this game could have easily been our game? How do you approach that when you're trying to make sure that everyone stays engaged because they got a game next week?
My response obviously would be different than Olin because he's dealing with the quarterback all the time. But if I'm an older guy, I'm just saying, man, you played a hell of a game. And for me, being the special teams player, I'm like, I'm sorry we came up short. Yeah, we need to do a better job of, you put us in position to win this game. We didn't get it done. But we got your back. We'll get it done next time. But you played a great game, man. Just for what he did bouncing back, for what we've seen the last 3 weeks, I thought he had a darn good game, and it's just unfortunate the special teams let him down.
Honestly, at this point, right, these are 4 losses in a row. Those are 2 heartbreaking losses. Like anything you say doesn't carry any weight. Right. What I do is I show up first tomorrow morning, I lift weights. I get in a call, I just go back to work. I watch this film, and I okay, I need to do this better. We as the O-line group need to do this better. We need to block this play better. I got to work with but the talking is really, when you're on a 4-game losing streak, you can't talk your way out of it. Right? There's really nothing to say. Right? Like, he apologized to the team. He's working harder. I don't have to tell him I noticed that. He showed us out there on the field. So I think no one could argue that the offense wasn't better today.
Absolutely.
Right. That Thomas Brown did a nice job with his motions, with spacing with the receivers, with getting guys open. The toss crack was a beautiful play call. Nice block by Braxton Jones. They were calling the right plays on third down. They were keeping themselves doing the smart thing. Like you heard Tom Brady talk about a lot. Get yourself in position to convert those third downs, right? And they were doing that. And it looked like they told Caleb, like, when it's your time to use your legs, use them, right?
Get out of there. Don't play around with it. Just get out of there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on on that last drive, there were some of the things that we've seen in the last couple of weeks where he ends up getting sacked a couple times, and you're trying to let routes develop, and maybe the ball doesn't come out as quickly as it had been earlier in the game.
But, as an offensive line, you want the ball to come out quickly, right? But as an offensive line, when it's time, right? There's play calls, by the situation and the play that they call, when he's holding the ball a little longer. And they'll let you know. And that's when you got to win, right? That's when we got to win those one-on-one blocks. That's when the offensive line has to win there. And look, they're down. Give Kern some credit. They're down to their what is that? What is that now? Their fourth left guard, and he's playing tackle. So it really is. You're searching for words for how tough of a loss this is.
So, look, we are on Twitch, and we appreciate everyone who is watching on Twitch right now. That's Olin. That's Patrick. Patrick is literally looking at the film of the final kick right now. So, as you're watching this back, you've watched it back 3 or 4 times now, Patrick. What do you see?
Bad technique by the left guard, long snapper, and right guard. That's all it is. You got to keep your pads down. You got to understand this kick. It's way different. The effort on this is way different as far as blocking.
Why?
They're going way harder. It's a game-winning kick. I'm telling you, it's this. It's
so
like
every piece of energy that you still have, you're giving
so
them
accelerated. You got to, your spike steps got to be better. You got to have your pads a little lower. You almost have to come off the ball. You on a field goal block, or if you're blocking for a field goal, you're not taught to come off the ball. But knowing what they're trying to do in that situation, you've got to keep lower. Get their inside spike step down. You like when I say spike step down quicker and keep their pads lower and come off the ball a little bit. It's just the 3 in the middle just got blown up, and that's what happened.
Is the snap a little high?
No.
Is it on point?
Snap was down.
Okay.
Snap was down. And Scott got blown up a little bit there, and then the guards, they got to help him, but he's also got to, again, that's one where you as a snapper got to put your head down a little bit more and make it the leverage on your back to getting you kind of rolled out there a lot harder.
So, Pat, just like in offense and defense, on special teams, do you talk about the situational game-winning field goal and the way to block that?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You should, yes.
Okay.
I mean, and those are a couple guys in there that have been there a few times.
Okay, so the guys have been there playing those positions.
Yes.
So
you got Pryor and Borum in there.
Is that where Tevin usually would be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You've got 2 backups in there. Yeah. But they've done it enough. They should know. But you've been in those situations, and you feel that it's like on a 4th and short. It's just when you have the quarterback sneak.
Yeah, I mean, I just I would say, look, there's supposed to be a second round pick in there and a $10 million right guard.
Yeah,
right. And instead we have Borum and Pryor, who, it goes back to, we talk about the plan. The plan for the offensive line isn't there, and now you got 2 guys in there that you didn't count on being in there to start the season. If we're kicking a game-winning field goal versus the Green Bay Packers, we'll have Tevin Jenkins and Nate Davis in there, and we'll feel pretty comfortable about that kick.
312-644-6767 is the number if you would like to join the show. Let's go to Bill. Hey, Bill, you're on the score.
Hey, guys, tough loss and, some good stuff out of Caleb, but honestly, I can live with this because I'm just so tired of Flus, and I just don't think he's going to turn it around. And, if they won this game, Georgia and Virginia would be like, oh, he's a genius. He beat the Packers for the first time in 6 years. And, he was not coaching like a genius today. He hasn't for weeks. And it was a tough loss, but I'm okay with it from a weird level. So thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. It's weird, right? Because we're sitting here, and we kind of have all of us have feelings about Matt Eberflus and the job that he's done. But you look at this game, and you feel like things moved in the right direction. People all week, whether it was people like me, people like you guys, saying, you know what they need to do? They need to get the ball out quicker. Mm-hmm. Caleb needs to get the ball out quicker. Thomas Brown, in 4 days, put together an offense that did that capitalized on it. Now, look, it's going to be on film. The Vikings are probably going to have something for the Bears next week. But you saw progress. You saw actual progress. And so it's heartbreaking because you saw a lot of the good that could be with this team. You saw DJ Moore run after catch. You saw, Keenan Allen, even though he's clearly hurting, coming up with a huge catch for you to put you in position to. We saw them use Roschon Johnson correctly. We saw thunder and lightning with him and DeAndre Swift. We saw a lot of good in this game, and it just feels so empty because of how the game ends.
Yep. And listen, when you lose by 1 point, you go all the way back and you say, okay, How could we have won the game? First touchdown by the Packers. 12 men on the field. They get to take a shot. Right? We heard all week about the details, about holding each other accountable, about all these things they're talking about. Right? And look, like Laurence just said, would love to come out here and just give everyone their flowers. Right? After a win. But it doesn't happen because the details. You don't get your pads low on the end of a field goal and it gets blocked. You have 12 men on the field. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers have been doing that. They snap the ball early, right? That is known. If they see you running somebody on the field and they haven't subbed, they're going to snap the ball early, get a flag, and now they get to take a shot into the end zone. And Jaden Reed gets the first touchdown. It's 7-0. That if you don't get that play and you're home to a field goal there, who knows, right? So they all, again, because of the loss, like after the Washington, even after the Washington game, right? Pat, we said, man, like they may have lost, but that quarterback,
yes,
right?
Yep.
Like he played good, right? But there's a lot of other people around there that have to start doing their jobs.
Yep, yeah, and it just, it's just amazing how the narrative changed, just like that Commanders game. We talked about this game just like that, and then I'm sitting here looking at the stats, looking at what Caleb did, looking at how DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, both had kind of split carries of 14 and 10, and then we talked about in the back room there watching the game that there hasn't been an identity on this offense. Now, today, it looked like an identity. They looked like more like you knew what they were going to do, and they're just going to try to, run Roschon. You saw what they were going to do, and it looked a little more competent, and I was hoping that's what we were going to be talking about, and we're not. And it is unfortunate.
312-644-6767 is the number out to Northfield and Cullen. Cullen, you're on the post-game show.
Hey guys, I appreciate all the notes from one of the best long snappers of all time. I appreciate what Olin saying. Guys, I'm hoarse and I haven't yelled all year because I expected to lose some games. This is beyond because it was arrogance from a loser coach who has no business in that position. He should have been out of here. Finding a way to not use the time to get a little closer for this team against the Packers. And I don't even care if we had lost both games against the Packers, but the way we're losing, it shows me that there's arrogance in this moron. And that combination is awful. It's inexcusable, and we got to move on from this guy. He is not the answer. He won't be. I'd love to see them break tradition and get rid of him now. It's not going to happen. It makes me sick to my stomach, to my core, and it drives me nuts. I'm done. That's it.
Cullen, thank you very much. I mean, I totally get the frustration, man. Like this was supposed to be a party today. Like this.
I told you so party.
Yes.
Well, they rubbed it in everyone's face, and I would have loved it. Right? Like, tell us to shut up. Right? I would have loved that. Like, just go get that win. They played pretty good ball, but to Cullen's point, we've heard so much about details, and yet today you still saw penalties. Right? You still saw. We just talked about the 12 men on the field. You still saw all these little things. You're wondering, man, and it's from the older guys too.
Yes,
that is what's interesting. I mean, when you watch it, right? And his frustration is those are two heartbreaking losses now, and obviously the fans feel it. The fans feel the heartbreaking loss. I know me and Pat standing there watching the field goal. I have to ask him what happened there, and he's like, they missed. Like I couldn't believe that they missed that field goal. I thought Santos was going to put that through, and we're going to have a good post-game show here. Instead, this year, which has been extremely frustrating, with a lot of talking, guys getting fired. Now, again, we have to talk about the plays you didn't make to lose by 1 point, and we're going to hear all about how guys should get fired up there.
Yeah, it's a devastating loss. This one, I think the Washington game is going to be the one everybody remembers for this year. But this game is up there. It is up there for me, just from how excited I was walking around that back room, thinking this was going to be a win, to seeing what happens, and obviously being a special teams guy, that breaks my heart to see that happen.
Oh, I think the Washington one is like the big one. Yeah. I think that people will remember nationally. Yes. I think Chicago fans are going to remember this one because you almost had it.
Yeah.
That you were right there. You could have beaten
and it would have been another great storyline for Caleb. That he 100%. Took him down to win a game, and that's what Ryan Poles said he drafted the guy to do, is to win games in the fourth quarter. He would have done it in the Commanders game, and he would have done it here. And you know that Bears fans are just sick walking out of Soldier Field. Like they're just, man, that's quiet.
They're just sick because
we're sick sitting in here.
Yeah,
right.
Burkhart and Brady were talking about it during the game. They're like, hey, the people are just standing up. Like it's a party atmosphere here, and then for it to come down to a last play, and we've seen last plays not go very well for this Bears team. It just really, really stinks. Shad is on the south side. What's up, Shad? You're on the Great Clips postgame show.
I wish I had an opportunity to talk to three legends in better circumstance, but what we call coaching was not shown and displayed by anybody on that sideline with a headset outside of Thomas Brown, who was up in the booth. What we saw in the first quarter, what the Packers were allowed to do 3 yards on the sideline, smacking Bears, and no flags were thrown, and you didn't see a deep-pants head coach fired up like LaFleur was all game. You should have got a tendency understanding of what this guy was going to do in the fourth quarter when he completely had a colonoscopy on the sideline, when you had a marvelous opportunity with a perfect script with Tom Brady in the booth to beat your legendary rivals right there in your home field to turn your season around. And you let the time tick off to get your kick blocked like you didn't watch football a week ago when you saw it happen in Kansas City. Understand the rules, Eberflus. You just lost it. It's over with. I don't know if those two pros up there can tell you when you lose a game like that and lose a Hail Mary in one season, can you still legitimately, as veterans, still show up to work and believe the guy that's ahead of you? No. Thomas Brown should get the keys moving forward because he was the only guy that showed that he had the moxie and the ability to get those guys to perform and execute at a level that was winning worthy. I'm done, man.
Well, Rashad, we appreciate the phone call. Let me just say real quick before I let the experts speak on it. It is one game, and the league has a way of humbling success. So, yes, Thomas Brown deserves his flowers for what he put together in a very short period of time. I definitely would like to see it again, and I'd like to see him prove it again against what he's going to face next week, which is Flores. So let's, before we say that one performance allows us to now elevate him from passing game coordinator to head coach of the team, I'd like to see a little bit more.
And then if Shad was having an issue with taking the clock down to 4 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever it was, kicking the field goal, that's what you do. You trust your field goal team to go out there and protect. You trust your field goal kicker to go out there and make the kick. So to me, that's not a coaching error. That's what you do. You just got to execute. You got to block.
Gosh, I mean, you hate to talk about all this stuff, right? But should they know also where their protection can hold up from? Where there were so many different guys in there, right? Like, was Bates on the field goal team before he got hurt, right? Would he have been the starting left guard? Did he go out that early? I don't know after the first one. I don't know who was in there, but
he probably would have been the right guard because Borum came in.
Right.
Normally you flip your guards
so
and
they stay in their
field goal.
stance.
Yes.
So it's just like short yardage, right? It's just Pryor's got to get his pads down, right? And again, the week you move on from Nate Davis, he rears his head again, right? That's who would have been in that spot. It would have been Nate Davis there playing that field goal spot, and it's just it just seems like some decisions here are catching up to this football team in a game that was winnable. It was a winnable football game, but if you go all the way back through it again, talked about the penalties, 7 penalties for 50 yards. Shows up again. This late in the season, right? Motion penalties. Just on guys like DJ Moore, right? Offsides penalties on a third and on the D lineman on a third and a fourth down. Just a really bad penalties.
Yep.
You know, just a lack of discipline and that kind of stuff eventually ends up losing you games.
But here's the thing. This team against the Commanders and the Packers today overcame that.
Yeah.
Right? Because of 18. He put him in position to win the game. Mm-hmm. And, yes, the little things at the end, but that's what we talk. In the past, we've never had a quarterback to do that. Mm-hmm. We've never had a situation where we're celebrating in there, waiting for a kick to be made or an interception or a Hail Mary to be knocked down, and it didn't work.
And there were 2 really bad games, right? Arizona, and then blanking on who was right after Patriots. But before that, he did that a lot, right? And we've seen this from him before this year, right? So that is a good sign from a young quarterback. Is just, man, these games are heartbreaking to lose.